And we are live for the Steelers Depot live stream here on Monday, September 20th. Good to be back with you guys after the Steelers' first two games of the season. As always, Dave and I here talking with you guys, answering as many Steelers questions as we can until 8 p.m. So about 1 hour for Dave and myself. Dave, how you doing? And just welcome to the live stream. Is my horrible intro to that. I was trying to think of a good intro.
Boy, all polished up on this
Yes.
Monday, are you not? Just like the
The
Steelers'
Steelers
run
offensive,
blocking.
yeah, exactly.
Is. Happy Monday, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Just let me know if you guys can hear me okay. I've had to mess with my settings for other stuff lately, so just make sure, can you guys hear us? Please let me know. Make sure everything's fine. There aren't any wonky issues with the stream. If so, then we'll proceed here with the first couple of questions. But if you guys in the chat could just let us know that you can hear me, that you can hear Dave, that there are no issues with the stream in any meaningful way, then you guys are saying that now. So cool. Thank you guys, Ross Swisher, David O, and Findle. Okay, enough out of the way. Let's get into the questions here. First one comes from our buddy John Pennington, who says, "Hello, Dave and Alex." Hello, John. Now, do you guys think the offensive line is not up to Canada's blocking scheme and Johnson doesn't understand the playbook, or if Ben is not all in on Canada's scheme? That's a lot of questions there, John. To start with that first part, I don't know if you're saying this as an either or a combination thing, but Dave and I both had big question marks about this offensive line this year. And I don't think either of us are surprised or shocked in any grand fashion this O line is struggling. I'm assuming you feel the same way, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know where John's been. John, did you hit your head or something? We've been saying for quite a while that there's a big question mark concerning this offensive line dating. I mean, all the way back there. So no, we're not shocked at all. I mean, it hasn't been pretty, especially. I mean, look, you can't let your quarterback get hit 10 times the way Ben got hit. You can't. I mean, you go through the all 22 on this run blocking from yesterday. It's horrible, man.
Hmm.
And I think Alex put it best in an article this morning was the fact that look, I mean, independently, there's some good performances play to play, but if you don't have the collective unit, on the same page, then all it takes is one breakdown, from let's say from Kendrick Green at center, and you can go from a play like a counter run that highlighted on Twitter earlier today that looks like it's all ready to bust open like a ripe watermelon to 3 yard gain,
Right.
those kind of things there. So I don't think Alex and I are surprised at all that the running, that the offensive line is having issues.
To the other point to John's question, he's saying Johnson doesn't understand the playbook. I'm not sure where that comes from. Maybe some of the miscommunication on some of the site adjustments. I don't know if you can extrapolate that he doesn't understand the playbook from that, to be honest with you, John. The last point is Ben not all in on Canada's scheme. I wouldn't say that. I think, to hear him tell it and to kind of watch him work, he's worked really hard at trying to adapt to it. It just was going to be some growing pains there because what Canada wants to do ideally is probably different than what's in Ben's skill set. So I think it'd be unfair to say that Ben's not all in or not trying to work hard and make it work. There were just some predictable growing pains, and as I talked about on the Terrible Podcast today, it's a question of how quickly can things get better and how much better they're going to be. And to me, those are the two most important but very open ended questions right now. John Horvat, another question about the offensive line. What is going on with the O line? Is this a talent or a scheme issue? Last year, weeks 1 and 2, Steelers ran the ball well. It's cratered since then. What changed so drastically? Yeah, I mean, just looking at this year, John, I mean, I think it's both. I mean, there's talent there for sure, but they haven't played to it. As Dave mentioned, I think they're not a sum of their parts. They're just individuals right now. And in terms of what the specific issue, I know you've gone through it a lot, Dave. So kind of explain what you're seeing. Maybe are there any common themes with why their run blocking has been poor?
Execution. You for it or against it?
I'll do the John McKay version, not the Brian Kelly version.
Okay. Look, I mean, just subtle things in there, overshooting, not cutting a backside block off or something
Hmm.
along those lines. It's technical related. You got a guy like Kendrick Green on the ground a lot still. I mean, it's not just Green. I mean, it's all across the line that you're seeing errors on there. Now, if you're my view and the all 22, I think backs this up coming out of this game. When Chikwama Okorafor is your best run blocker in the game, you probably didn't have a good game running the football, and that was exactly the case. Chiquama was the best, in my opinion, the best run blocker Sunday against the Raiders there. And there's just there. I mean, it's all over the place. Even the counter run that they managed to get, what they get, like 14 on that, or 13 or 14 yards
Hmm.
on that. Uh, that was almost a disaster. I mean,
Right.
there's someone in the backfield there, and I don't know how Fryermuth was able to, because that guy went in. The penetrator went in front of Fryermuth. Fryermuth somehow avoided that, was still managed to get into the hole and make his block, and Najee was able to dodge dodge the tackle attempt in the backfield. So you know the guy, the defender, just kind of overshot him. He probably surprised himself he got in the backfield that quick
Hmm.
there. So it's just little things like that on a play-by-play basis. And once again, there was another counter that I just said later on in the game, that if Kendrick Green walls off that guy
Right.
that he had there, that thing bust open like
Yeah.
a watermelon.
And that's a block he's got to make. That's a down block. That
Yeah.
he, I mean, that dude swam over him. That's the one on the right side, right? That you're talking about. Najee ran to the right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I guess they've all kind of gone to the right, but yeah, I think we're on the same page. I will say on that first play with the penetrator, that's a tough block for Green. He's got a back block a three tech like that.
Sure.
I think actually did a good job to get a piece of him. A lot of guys are just going to whiff there. You got to snap and then get down the line and make that play. So I think actually did a nice job there.
Well, I mean, it's amazing that that play just get blown up, though, because
That's right.
once again, that penetrator went in ahead of Fryermuth there, and the
Right.
fact that Fryermuth was able to get through the trash and Najee avoided the tackle attempt. I mean, I don't know how you want to use the phrase luck here, but I mean, they definitely got lucky on that one.
Yeah, that would be more of a scheme related issue in the sense of that's a very difficult block that I think Green did the best that he could on. But there are, yeah, it's both is the short answer. It feels, and I guess it's probably true of any running game, but it feels like they're so close. Like on that one that you referenced with Green not getting the down block. If he gets that, man, that's a big run by Najee. That might even be
That's
a
20
house.
yards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I
just like
mean,
it's just that little because it was great blocked on the front side, and I wish we could show you guys. And trying to get that's going to be too tough right now. I apologize. We'll have a video on it probably later this week, but it's just little stuff like that that really hurt you.
and even going back to last week against Buffalo, we talked about some of a few of those plays. It just felt like one, at least one of those outside zone runs. That it just felt like they're so close to popping it. And you look at the TV angle and you thought, man, why didn't they pop it? And then you see the end zone view, then you understand why, because you had one guy that missed a block in there, and that blows it up. And that, unfortunately, that's the common theme here. Is it's now not all the plays is just one guy. Some guys is two or three guys
Hmm.
not making a block there. But all it takes in the NFL with this level of competition, man, is for one guy not to carry out their assignment or hold their block long enough, and you get a lot of 2 yard gains or negative yardage gains. So yeah, they're close, but and how much of this is Kendrick Green still trying to adjust to the not only the speed of the game but the center position. How much is that part of it? I don't know, but I tell you what, Alex, they better straighten this out quick,
Hmm.
or else, because Ben Roethlisberger is a guy that I think, especially at this stage of his career, really needs a successful running game.
Yeah.
And if they're not able to run successfully early in games like that, then you're just going to be relying on basically Ben trying to take the deep shots down the field to get the chunks, and then maybe a pass interference penalty or something like that, and hopefully you get 17 or 20 points a
Right.
game.
Yeah, that's how it's gone basically the first 2 weeks. Have a super chat here from LK McCray, $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys want to ensure that your question gets asked and answered by Dave and myself, you can send a super chat. Obviously, you're not obligated to do so. If you could like the stream as well, that would help us out greatly. If you cannot send a super chat, no question there associated with it, but has a question immediately after that says, "Do you think Ben is hurting us because of the things he can't do? Can't move, can't throw in tight windows, which would help cover for O line deficiencies." Dave, how would you answer that question?
Boy, a couple of times that he has done kind of those boots off have seemingly been successful, have they not? I'd be up to seeing a couple more of them, to be quite honest with you. At least they result in some easy throws for 5, 6, 7 yards. Look, the deep ball once again. Two of what did we say? 2 of 8 on
Hmm.
throws 20 yards or more down the field. No, I don't know. I don't think PFF termed that one on Claypool as a drop in the end zone. There, it's kind of hard to classify that one as a drop. But on the flip side, I think we can classify the one to Eric Ebron on the extended play that should have been a completion there.
Yep.
So my takeaway was the same as Alex and I talked about on the podcast this morning, and that was the fact that Ben played better against the Raiders than he did against the Bills. Now, was that hard to do? Probably not, but I still thought it was a better overall performance from Ben. But even so, not connecting down the field and registering a completed yards average of under 5 is just not going to cut it in the
Right.
NFL. You gotta be able to connect downfield on occasion and have those explosive plays like that. And yeah, he had a couple of them to Claypool and Johnson, but that was not enough there. So this isn't all on Ben. It goes back to what we said before the season goes, or at least what I said. Ben was number 3 on my concern meter, number 3
Hmm.
or number 4. It was offensive line, running game, and defense ahead of that. And if those three things ain't working, then you can forget about worrying about Ben.
Right. And I think he made some impressive throws. That throw to Deontay, that 41 yarder left side was a dime, just the best throw
Oh,
he's
right,
made.
right in the bucket. Yeah.
Yeah. Now he was not perfect, but in terms of why the team lost that game, I think Ben is lower on the list of reasons. To be honest with you, Sim
I
foot.
found I found one check down that he should have made
Yeah.
in that game there, and there's probably a couple more. We'll go through it. You
Right.
and I together probably 3 or 4 more times there, but there was probably a check down or two that he didn't make that he should have made.
Yeah, I have to go through still the tape more than I have. I've started to, but my initial impression was that it was better, and there were some higher level plays. The should be catch by Ebron, the throw to Deontay, the completion to Claypool, some other ones that Claypool could have had. Really would have changed the feel of that game. Sim Football Critic, another $10 super chat. Thank you so much, man. Really, really appreciate it. I know you're a big supporter on Twitter, on the podcast, and over here on the live streams. Says Dave and Alex, how are you? First of all, I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. Question: Do you think Kendrick Green can improve his anchor against power? Not much he can do about his size. Yeah, that's tough. It comes down to it comes down to technique. And are you laughing at the one play that you shared in the group
Yeah,
DM?
it's
I
funny.
haven't even seen that one. I don't think I need to see
Uh,
the whole clip of it.
yeah, we know what each other's thinking. I think you,
Yeah.
you can hear me laughing. I think you know what sometimes
Hmm.
what I'm laughing about there, but he's got to get better, man. He's got to get better with those good defensive tackles, especially those that line up right across from him there. Uh,
Because they're going
we'll
to keep
see.
doing it. They're not going to
Yeah,
stop.
they're gonna try, and there's other times too in some runs in this game too, and I think you'll see it. Maybe you've already hit some of them, Alex, where he's the hands go into him first, and he's shocked back. You know,
Yeah.
uh, and that's been one of the fears with this guy is yeah, the leverage sometimes can work in his favor. And look, you will find every game probably moving forward 2 pancakes by him in a game.
Hmm.
But is that enough to offset some of the other stuff that's going on there? So we'll just leave it at this. We're gonna watch and see if he can progress or whatnot, and he better.
Yeah, short answer is I think sure there were things technically he can work on. Pouncey barely had longer arms than he did. He was a little taller, a little bit bigger, I think overall. But technically he was better. And Green is a first year guy, second career NFL start. Should be a senior in college right now who hadn't played a lot of center. So I don't want to say it's doom and gloom and he can't get better, but he certainly has to get better.
He's just going to have to learn the nuances and the technical side and a lot of the cheats and tricks that are going to help give him the upper hand. And obviously, not playing center a bunch at Illinois, and as you mentioned, I mean, this guy is a senior now, basically.
Right.
On top of it, here he is in the NFL, starting against some of the some good defensive tackles, and he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders, on top of it there. So, I mean, we're not going to throw him out in the bathwater right now, but we better start seeing middle of the season or so some progress when it comes to him. And he's got to stay off the ground, Alex.
He does, absolutely. Let me scroll back up. I just there's a cutoff here on the live chat. I apologize. I can't see some of the questions, but there was one from I believe Tim Chase who had asked, is it him or does James Pierre primarily only play on the left side? He plays both. He played right in the Buffalo game, had that big breakup on Manny Sanders. So he was left corner last week to replace Joe Hayden, but he can play either outside spot and has played either outside spot. Let me see if I can find. I'm getting cut off here for some reason in the live chat. I apologize. There were a couple questions I wanted to address. I think someone had asked. Maybe it was Mike Adesso or somebody else. Is Ben pump faking more this year? And I don't know how to quantify that. I don't have a stat for it. He's pump faking quite a bit. Is that is there a reason for that? I don't really have an answer for. I don't know
Yeah,
if you have an answer
I
for
don't
that.
either. Yeah, I haven't really been tracking it too terribly much, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Mike Adesso, passing game is either chuck it deep to Chase or short throws to Juju and Deontay, just like last year. I think that's a fair assessment. Is this a Ben related problem, or are we even running routes in the middle, deep middle of the field? There are routes being run, Mike. I will say, at least against the Raiders, I mean, not to pat myself on the back too much, but I said they're not going to throw middle of the field this game. They're going to go vertical shots on the sideline because A, that's their identity, and B, the Raiders play a lot of single high, and so trying to throw middle of the field is going to be tough to do. So I wasn't surprised by that, and that has been something that's been a theme of Ben and this offense for several years. It has not been an offense that attacks the deep middle too often. I think some of that is Ben, some of that's the offense, some of that last week was how the defense was playing.
Yeah, you hit on that because it's a big, fat, open area there in the box, past, I mean, really past 12 yards past the line of scrimmage, going out almost to the numbers, they're probably not that far out, but people get to, and look, this is a common theme that we've seen for a while. And then until they start drawing some of those linebackers up a little bit harder, with and that going back, that's another thing with that one run that we talked about that Kendrick Green didn't block up there on that counter there. They had that motion, that pre-snap motion on that play with Juju coming right to left on that. It did its job. Those linebackers got sucked in or sucked off by that. And that's phrasing, Dave.
Yeah.
Uh,
Moving on.
uh, yeah, got really sucked out of the picture on that.
Uh huh.
And that's another reason why if Kendrick Green makes that block, then Najee's running for a while on that. But until they get and the whole play action thing, look, play action should work regardless. In certain situations, it'll obviously work better the stronger that your running game is. But until this team starts learning to run more successfully, more often, then I think you're going to see a lot of that middle. These defenses, they know how to play Ben right now.
Hmm.
They got enough. There's enough tape over the years on Ben right now where you just you plant the safety in the middle of the field, or if you rotate into maybe a cover two, then you make Ben try to throw a hole shot or something like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear you for sure. LMAO Sosa says, would you sacrifice having a 10 out of 10 defense for a better offensive line to have a balanced team? Um, I hear what you're saying. I mean, I think if you don't have a decent offensive line, at least in the NFL today, it's really hard to win with this being an offensive minded game, even knowing in the hypothetical that you have some sort of stellar defense. And the Eagles defense, of course, is very, very good. Um, but I mean, I just don't think about the hypothetical too much because it's not reality. We can't wave a magic wand and do that kind of stuff unless you want to argue, this team should be investing more in the offensive line than it has on defense over the last 5, 6 years. But that's a whole nother can of worms. So the O line needs to be better, though. I said this for months now. The X factor of this team is the offensive line. It's going to determine how good this offense is, and by extension, how good this team performs, how well this team performs this season. And it has to get better right now.
Let's see. What's Dawson say here? Dawson, somebody clip Dave Wolf. What does that mean?
Somebody clip Dave.
Yeah, it says somebody clip Dave Wolf from Dawson Man Cabelli.
Is that in the chat?
Yeah, it's in the chat. I wonder what that
Mm,
means.
I'm not seeing it in the chat, but I might be missing it somewhere. Somebody says Muhammad Ali says I'm going to cancel Dave for the gaff there.
Oh, okay.
That's the joke. But thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Yeah, my chat's being weird tonight, so I'm afraid to exit out and try to refresh because the chat's been kind of strange on my end. So I apologize if I miss somebody's question. Um, Let me get back to the questions here. Let me try to find the next one. Ross Swisher, more of a comment. Does Steelers Nation understand we have 4 rookie second-year players outside of 1 vet? Yeah, I think we understand that, but that doesn't mean this group can't get better, needs to get better, or they can't be criticized. They have to get better, and it's a 17-game season now, 15 games left in the year, so this group has to grow up and play better fast. Otherwise, it will be a very long season. Let's see. Next question here comes from just a lot of commentary about the Chiefs and what they're doing. That was from LK McCrae. Double HH says better that a team look unbeatable by the midseason instead of only game two. Build upon each new lesson learned. Let's hold off summary execution judgment until at least game eight. Yeah, I think that's good perspective to have. Double HH. I don't want to make too many declaratory statements about this team 2 games in the end of the season. I think that's a good perspective there.
Look, you'll start getting, once you get around, around game 6 or 7 and all, we really start paying a lot, or at least I do start paying a lot more attention to some of the adjusted net yards per passing attempt stats, obviously run success rates, and along those lines. We got a lot of questions, I think, after that win against Buffalo, saying, people really, really excited, which they should have been. That was a hell of a damn win against Buffalo. But a lot of people saying, we told you, you guys, undersold this team. And look, we hope that we did. There'd be nothing better than to see the Steelers right now reel off the next whatever 15 games or whatever it is. But it just goes to show you that you can't, especially in the NFL, man, especially early on, especially a team like the Steelers, young offensive line. You can't get too high one week, especially how they won, and go into the next week and get deflated by then. So yeah, a good week 6 or week 7, right around in there, we're going to get a pretty good idea of what this team looks like overall. And hopefully, obviously, the injuries don't get out of hand. This team really got beat up in this past week and all, and we even went into last Tuesday thinking, boy, it's going to be a clean injury sheet.
Right. Nope.
Yeah, not. And we got to the weekend. You have Joe Hayden and Bush, ultimately ruled out for that game, and then everybody obviously saw what happened on Sunday to
Mhm.
Alu and Watt there. So yeah, it's look, we just make the observations on a game by game basis, and then we talk about it, and we go on to the next one.
Yeah, exactly. I take these things in quarters. So after the first 4 games, I'll kind of evaluate this team, next 4 games, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of where I start making trying to draw some hard and fast conclusions after week 4. Jason, and I think you said it's Bodine. Hopefully I said that right, not Bodine. So Jason Bodine says hello. Dallas is annual or by monthly, I should say. Greeting. So thank you, Jason. Carly McAdams says, Alex, there seems to be a disconnect between a lot of fans wanting the Steelers to get a new quarterback and extra draft, but people forget the shiny new quarterback will have to play behind this line as well. Yeah, point taken there. Unless you're finding a Patrick Mahomes type of quarterback, a lot of these guys are going to struggle with the pressure that they're seeing, that Ben's seeing, and things like that. So I don't think about a whole lot of that right now because that quarterback does not exist yet, and B, this offensive line will hopefully grow, improve, and probably be added to in this upcoming offseason. So the way it looks right now is not necessarily what it's going to look like, and probably will not look like the way it is now come September 20th of next season.
I'm going to give you some top notch analysis here. Ben's going to be the team's quarterback until he's not.
Right. But do you think that is going into next season?
I mean, we'll obviously see. I think it obviously depends on what happens this
Yeah.
season. That
Yeah.
guy loves to play, man. He loves the competition, and if he thinks he's has an inkling of being close, I could see him coming back. So right
Yeah.
now, it's obviously too. Not if he takes 10
I was
hits.
just gonna say the way things are going. Oh my god! And and
No,
and
no, yeah.
And,
Go
and
ahead.
can I just say, can this line? I know it's young. I know it's some leadership they're trying to figure out. Can they help their quarterback up? That clip that I posted of him getting hit destroyed on fourth down. Please help your quarterback up. Please at least be near him. That's Pouncey always would do that. They had a great relationship. So that's something this offensive line it's low on the list, but needs to learn.
Mhm.
Let's go back to the questions here. I lost my place for a moment. Jonathan Mason, do y'all think we won't truly see a 100% Matt Canada offense until after Ben? I mean, yeah, if you want to go to the literal interpretation of that of 100%, sure. Now, again, I said all offseason, Canada has played and won with different kinds of quarterbacks. It's not like he needs a quarterback who runs a 4.5 40. I mean, he's won with Nathan Peterman and Jacoby Brissett and guys like that. So, not exactly the most fleet of foot players. So, um, I don't want to overstate the point about mobility in this scheme. But is Canada able to do all of his ideals right now? I'm sure he's not for a variety of reasons. I mean, it's a first year OC. It's a quarterback that he's inheriting and things like that. So some obvious stuff there that's worth pointing out. But I don't want to make maybe too much out of it either. If that makes sense. Let's see. C-Rex, less of a question, more of a commentary. This line is a mess. And no, the defense has multiple injuries. I'm not that hopeful things are going to go well from here. Wish I was less skeptical, but I just don't see it. No, I understand that. But, I think we were all, had we done the stream 1 week ago, Dave, we would have had a much different conversation about how excited we were fans to see this team beat the Bills. And so I don't want to ride that emotional roller coaster too much after just 2 games. As disappointing as this loss was, and it is, and there are clear issues with this team. I don't want to, go from high to low and high to low the way that seasons can go based on, one game and one result.
And let's not forget too. I mean, up until the home run to Ruggs, I mean, this game could have gone, the Steelers' way.
Yeah.
Uh, most, but obviously that home run to Ruggs really thwarted. I mean, that was a third down play right there. What happens? And we're not ones that played a hypothetical game, but what happens if you get off the field on that third down?
Hmm.
At that point there. So it's not like they got blown out of the building there. And hopefully, they're going to be in a lot of games this year, I think. And obviously because of the defense. And the thing is that we worried about at the top of the season there was if the defense takes a step back, which I think is kind of plausible, at least going into the season and 2 weeks in, especially with these injuries so far. If defense takes a tiny step back and still can play at that okay level, can the offense make up the rest? But with a step forward, and right now you have to say the answer is no.
Right.
So, but you know, let's see what they do against Cincinnati because as we talked about on the podcast, there's no such thing as a must-win game in Week 3, especially when you're 1-1. But they better win this game,
Hmm.
a divisional game and all like that. And if they do, then I'm sure be back on the riding high kind of
Right.
roller coaster part of it.
Exactly. No, 100% agree there. Resurrect X again. Just a comment. Our O line has got to help Ben out. It seemed like he got hit every snap. He also got a helmet to helmet with Crosby. O line has to help. Yeah, that's the theme here, and rightfully so. Super chat here from Muhammad Al Ali. I don't like losing this. I'm missing putting up 42 and the other team putting up 47. But seriously, this defense is awesome when healthy. One thing I look forward to is we're always in games. Yeah, this defense continues to and I think they played well yesterday. I think just that touchdown by Ruggs was the back breaking mistake. And I think this team's gonna be a lot healthier defensively next week. And I think Hayden's gonna play. I think Bush is gonna play. Watt, we'll see. It's 50-50 right now. Obviously Alualu's a big loss. It's gonna miss most, if not the entire season. But this defense will, I think, still remain a strength of this team.
And you're not going to play it. Look, Derek Carr played good. I mean, he
Hmm.
really did
He
play
did.
good. Going through the tape and all. You're not going to play Derek Carr every week, And I mean, look, you do have Aaron Rodgers coming up in a couple of weeks, and that's obviously something to think about. And obviously, later in the season, you're going to play Mahomes and all like that. But uh, you know, they got beat by a good team, and hats off to the Raiders coming in there, kind of a wounded animal on a short week, and the Steelers doing what they needed to do to take Waller away, and they Carr, credit to Gruden and Carr for beating them with Renfro and Ruggs.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of their ancillary pieces stepped up and made big plays when Darren Waller was by and large taken away. So kudos to them for that. Again, if you guys could like the stream, would really appreciate it. Gets more people in the chat, just makes it more lively in general. Dave and I here till the top of the hour answering your Steelers questions. We'll have a lot of content on the channel and on, of course, Steelers Depot throughout the week. John Pennington says, should Green be moved to guard next season? We've gotten this question a lot over the last couple of weeks, Dave. Short answer is probably not, and the longer answer is probably not because the issues that plague him at guard, or the issues that plague him at center aren't going to be a lot different if you move him to guard. That's how I'll phrase it.
Right, he'll just be a little bit further off the ball,
Right.
Yeah, I mean, look, you drafted this guy to be your center. If he can't be your center, I don't think there's, what is the upside for him being a guard then?
Right. Aussie Tanks had asked, is it, I don't have the question in front of me, but asking to the effect of, is Deontay Johnson going to miss the next 2 games? We don't know if he'll even miss one. I suspect he'll probably miss the Bengals game, but we don't know that for now. We'll hopefully hear more from Mike Tomlin tomorrow, Tuesday, during his noon press conference. So we'll see, but I think that's the guy of the Watt, Hayden, Bush crowd that's the least likely to play against the Bengals.
Yeah, we'll say I don't. It's hard to interpret what Deontay put out there on Instagram today, and at least it's not season ending. So I think we at least know that, or think we know that.
Right.
So we'll look. We've learned over the years. You guess one thing, and when it comes to injuries, and you get to the weekend, and it'd be the total opposite. And Mike Thomas is not going to help you out in a situation either. All you can do is look at the daily injury reports every day, and then kind of go from there, and keep your fingers crossed. In the meantime, I guess.
Tim Chase, following up our question and answer earlier, Pierre seemed more comfortable in last week's game on the left side. To me, he played on the right side, but I assume that's what you mean here. He also played fewer snaps in that week one game, so it's probably just less chances to screw up than it would be when you're playing the full percent of snaps as he did against the Raiders.
Does Joe Hayden still? I think I know the answer to this. But even if Joe Hayden's in the game instead of Akella Witherspoon on that home run to Ruggs, is that still a touchdown?
Oh man, that's a good question. There's the element of will Hayden have the speed to catch up? That would have been interesting to see because Witherspoon's a faster, younger guy. I think here's how I'll answer this. I'll answer it hopefully directly. I think Ruggs makes the catch. I don't think it's a touchdown. I don't know if that. I think they get him on the ground because I think Witherspoon did not play that well at the top of the route. Although I put that on Minka, I think Witherspoon's got to be tighter on that the whole way through.
Yeah, but Ruggs did give a nice little quick nod to the outside to widen
Right,
Witherspoon
but a guy like
just a
Hayden
little bit.
isn't going
Right.
to be as susceptible to those things.
But would Hayden once again would Hayden and his speed be able
Right.
to hang and be on that top shoulder?
That's a good question. So I assume your answer to that is yes. Even if Hayden would have been in there, the result would have been the
I,
same.
I think the result's the same,
Okay,
but
that's fair. No, I
that's
get
just
that.
speculation.
No, I think that's a totally valid opinion to have. Dylan Goodson, do you think it's possible we go after another offensive line in free agency or via trade? I don't, unless there are serious injuries, and right now the group's healthy, sans banner. So as much as people would like to bring in a Mitchell Schwartz or a Russell Okung or somebody else, name your favorite free agent offensive lineman, I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't either, barring a couple injuries and all happening, or some more spitting. I don't know.
Yeah, it's true. Cole Evans, Alex, try to narrow down this run game. What is the number one reason why it is so bad? Small issues in terms of execution, minor execution problems that become major issues. As case in point, the one down block to Kendrick Green, if he hits that, the Najee is going to run for a big explosive play, and you just miss it on that. Kendrick Green getting held by the veteran one tech when he's trying to pull around, as you
What did you
pointed
think
out.
about that? Yeah, I forgot to bring that one up too. That was a nice play, but I mean, it's subtle, but it affected the play. And if Green gets off that cleanly, that's probably 5-6 yards, right?
Yeah, now I will say they're running in the 8-man box. I mean, there were multiple free Raiders there, but that run's going to go for more than 1 yard if Green doesn't get held like that. And that's a veteran savvy play. It's hardly ever noticed. It's hard to be called. It rarely is. And so you get away with it. You get away with it. Hayward does it all the time to those left tackles on stunts.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's only cheating if you get caught and flagged for it, right?
Right, exactly. Let me go back to the questions here. Thank you guys for being here in the chat today. Let's see. Troyes says, since Alualu is done for the season and Mondo is no replacement, can you see the Steelers signing a proven 3-4 nose tackle such as Geno Atkins? Atkins would be ideal, and there is much football left in him. Man, I don't know about Geno Atkins being a proven 3-4 nose tackle. He's been a 4-3 3-tech gap shooter his entire career. I don't know how much is left in the tank, but I mean, you could argue to bring him in as a pass rusher, but not as a nose tackle. And no, I don't think they'll bring anyone in. They promoted Mondo, and Buggs and Davis can play nose tackle, so I think that's what they're going to roll with.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it either. And yeah, I mean, he's a little bit past his prime, and as you said, he's more of a 4-3 defensive 3-tech more than anything.
Yeah, I've got a lot of people asking about Geno Atkins, not just Troy, and I don't see how that fits in Pittsburgh. Let's see. Dawson, Alex, Dave, do we get any clear update on Turner getting spit on from the old 22? I haven't even gone back and looked at that, but I'm
I
guessing it
look.
was clipped off. It wasn't shown.
Yeah, nothing. There's nothing there.
Is there
Yeah.
anything that shows them like getting into it before
No,
the spitting?
nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, the play's well over by that point and
Okay.
clipped out of the all
Clipped out.
22.
Yeah.
So I went right to that to see if I could see anything, and there's nothing there, and obviously nothing in a TV tape, and I doubt I because of that, unless there's something that we don't see, unless a camera that we don't have access to recorded something, then it's probably just going to be Trey Turner be the one that gets fined for that.
No second spitter you saw on the
No, he was
the
he
clip there?
was a second spitter. No,
Oh, he
no,
was.
no. No first
No,
spitter
for
action.
okay. All right, fair enough. Yeah, it's the accusation that somebody spit at Turner. Who knows? But Turner's the one that got caught, and he'll be getting no suspension, rightfully so. But a fine is coming his way for sure. Mohammed, another super chat. That's your last one. I'm cutting you off. I appreciate it so much, my guy. $5 super chat, but that's more than enough for one stream. What do you think happens when Banner is back? Does Dan stay starting at left tackle, or is Chooks back? Love the channel. Thank you for the kind words. We'll see. I don't know when Banner's going to come back. We don't want to assume that it's going to be as soon as he's eligible to, and we'll see how this line looks whenever that time comes. My guess right now, if you're making me answer it, and I'll answer because you're sending the super chat, my guess is Chooks goes to the bench, but it could be a scenario where even Banner doesn't start. I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens.
Yeah, look, I mean, if they start getting some continuity together here in the next couple weeks, then why would you mess with that? Once again, I know people hate to hear it because it goes against the narrative, but Chikwama Okorafor was the Steelers' best offensive lineman against the Raiders. So take that for what you will there. And look, hey, if you make it that far, here's the thing: I'm not totally convinced Banner's going to be ready after this next week,
Right.
because don't you want them to kind of start practicing and get a little bit, some football conditioning back and all,
Hmm.
possibly before that. So I don't know. I think at this point Dan Moore would really have to start tanking bad to get pulled out of there. They obviously drafted him thinking that he could possibly be the a starting left tackle. So you got three fingers deep into it now. Once again, unless he shows really goes backwards, I think he stays out there. So then the question becomes, uh, if you think Banner can be an upgrade over a core four when Banner's ready, and that's either it's going to be a yes or a no.
Yeah. We'll see. There's still time that we don't have to make that assessment right now, and neither does the team. Question here from Hidalgo had a question saying, if this is Ben's last year, if the Steelers can maintain a high caliber defense and have Najee, then the only thing the Steelers need to address is the offensive line for a smooth transition, right? Yeah, aside from the quarterback, yeah, I mean the offensive line is the big thing that you're going to want to build on and keep, hoping that it's making strides and improving with the development of the guys who are currently here and potentially other guys that you add in free agency or the draft. But of course, the big thing will be finding your next quarterback, which will be the biggest challenge of all.
Yeah, I might not even be here a year from now. I'm, I'm
Okay.
worried about I'm worried about the Bengals game next.
Right. You got that's a very Belichick mentality there. I appreciate
Yeah,
that. Uh,
on to Cincinnati.
yeah, that's exactly right. Let's see. I used too many us here. I apologize.
Too many
Zach,
what?
too many us. I say
Oh,
as the
that's
filler
my
too much. I
specialty.
know.
Yeah,
I just because it's an audio medium, and so I feel like I have to fill the time, and so I just use us as the. I tried. I hopefully don't use that as often in other avenues, but maybe. Anyway, Zach Perez, James Washington, we finally going to see him play. Derek Watt, WTF, a lot of question marks, several exclamation points as well. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see Derek Watt some, more than what we have, which has basically been zero. But I also don't want to mislead you or myself and say that Derek Watt alone is going to cure and fix his run game. There are issues far deeper than the absence of number 44.
yeah. I'd like to see him three or four times, maybe on the field. First half of the game, and once again, you'll see Derek Watt later in games if the Steelers are winning. And try to sit on that running game and take the air out of the football kind of thing. There, that's ideally probably when the Steelers would like to get him on the field the most, but they just haven't been. I thought we might see a little bit of that in the game against Buffalo, but we didn't.
Yeah, they had
And
a 4 minute offense chance to do that, and they chose not
yeah,
to.
and they didn't. So, boy, that's an expensive special teams player or right now. Yeah, you better make him captain at that price there. So, look, this will get probably thrown around the wrong way here. Alex and I don't expect to see him on the field 20 or 30 times a game, but I think if you go back to some of that 2010 tape and all with Ben Roethlisberger there's some Ben, I think there's ways to be creative out of 21 personnel, which is fullback and a running back and one tight end on the field. The problem is which wide receiver do you want to pull off the field?
Right.
So uh, I think we will see Watt in the first half next week in the first half. I just don't know how much. Is it going to be 1 or 4 plays, somewhere around in there? But they probably need to get him on the field a little bit. At
Ye-
least get it on tape,
Yeah,
to give people something to think about there.
and just try something different. Try to get something going because what's going right now needs to be improved, and you're not giving up on, but is not working the way it needs to be. Yeah, the counter runs against the Bengals have been effective over the years, and so maybe you see some more of it against the Bengals. I'm hoping so. Ultimate Elite 11. Hey, Alex and Dave. I was wondering what is the reason Balaj is not getting any snaps at all? He can get those tougher yards and is easily better than Snell, in my opinion. I mean, the backup running backs have played 3 snaps in 2 games. So, I mean, even if you want to argue that Balaj should have gotten those carries over Snell, it's a very small number of plays we're talking about here. I think they just like Snell better. Mike Tomlin's always been a fan of Benny Snell. So even if we grant you your point, it isn't going to change things too much.
Yeah, one of Snell's runs was the one where the defensive tackle grabbed Kendrick Green,
Hmm.
and if Green's gets a free release there and gets to the second level there, that's a 4 or 5 yard run probably by Benny Snell in that situation there. So, people look, don't fall into these lazy narratives of the message board narratives. Go watch the tape and see what's actually happened on instead of just following the lazy narrative that this guy sucks or that guy sucks. Make your own determination. You shouldn't believe everything that we obviously Alex and I look. I've gone through tape 5 or 6 times, and I find something new every time, man. That I miss.
Hmm.
That's like the last week with the throw to Chase Claypool down the right side there. It was like the seventh time through that film that I saw Najee Harris step on Ben's foot.
Right. Which is a great find by you, by the way. Fantastic
Well,
little gem.
but I missed it 6 times through.
Hmm.
So we miss stuff just like everybody else. So don't fall into go watch the tape yourself and don't fall into some of these following the bully on the message board narrative, if you will, or bully on Twitter or whatever.
Right. And again, I just think the point overall is a bit moot right now because Najee Harris has played 98.5% of the snaps.
Mhm.
David O, our own David O, is Deontay pulling up on plays a couple times been through long, but Deontay seemed to have stopped. What is your take? Yeah, there's some miscommunication, some sight adjustment issues. I haven't gone through that specifically yet, but yeah, there's been some miscommunication there
Uh,
between what's that?
on the one extended play there on the interception there, you don't get to get a clean look of what happens with Deontay there. But on the all 22, I think Ben expected on the kind of the scramble drill, if you will, the extended play for Deontay to turn it up
Hmm.
and then keep running.
Right.
And Deontay made it to the sideline, turned it up, and then about 3 yards up, just quit on it there. And I think Ben expected him to keep going. Now I don't know if it's a completed pass or not, but it might not be picked off. In that situation there. So that's just one thing. And one of the other throws that we talked about this morning, Alex, on the other side. I didn't go back and look at that, but I'm willing to bet that it just Ben was expecting him to keep going. It was a slight adjustment, like you said there, and
Hmm.
one or both of them missed it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jason Bodine, Dallas, hypothetically, would playing Haig over a core four the next 2 games affect the comp pick status for us next season? Potentially. I don't know what that line is going to be. It's a couple different factors. So, yes, it could. The more he plays, the more it could impact that. But I don't have the tally of snaps and what those cutoffs are. And if he plays the next 2 games and doesn't play the rest of the season, what is the aggregate number? That final number is the number that matters the most. So, that's the answer there, Jason.
Look, if I thought I could win games or be better running the football for sure with Haig in there, I don't care about any
Right.
compensatory picks. I'm willing to tell you this. I bet you Kevin Colbert feels the same way about that. So I mean, yeah, it's something to track, but I mean, those are stuff that worry about winning first and worry about compensatory picks after the season.
100%. I still think Haig's the best run blocking tackle healthy right now, but he would struggle in pass pro. I have no doubt about that. But I do think he would improve this run game, which I think is mandatory for this offense to go anywhere this year. Just my opinion. Let's see. I don't know how to say the name. Jusant. What do you guys think about Thomas's decision not to go for it on 4th and 1? We talked about that on the podcast today, so you can check that out. I would have gone for it. Dave would have gone for it. I don't think either of us are going to be as critical of Tomlin for punting there as a lot of fans are. Not to say that he can't be criticized for it. He can, but I don't think it was the egregious decision as say the the playoff game where they punted, for example.
It's worth talking about and arguing if you want to do that, but it is down the list of the things that went into the team losing. So I would have went for it. The analytics say go for it. Alex would have went for it. Would they have gotten it? I don't know. They kind of got, I guess, the desired result. 4 plays on the other side, and but 2 minutes and something went off the clock or whatnot. But you are giving up a possession in that situation, and you are down 9 points at a time. So it's worth asking the question and possibly arguing about, but it wasn't the difference in the game.
Right. I'm with you. Spencer Cleary, what would you say is holding back this offense? Poor first down play. They're averaging 4 yards per play on first down. That is tied for 29th worst in football. It's leading the second along, leading the third and long, and leading to an inefficient offense overall. Until they get better on first down, which starts with a better offensive line, a better run game, clearly, then this offense is not going to get a whole lot better, if better at all.
Got to. Ben needs a running game. They have to have a
Hmm.
running game
Yeah,
for him.
and they know this. They talked about it all season, and
Right.
it's 2 games, so I don't want to say that it can't get better. I think it will get better, but it needs to get better and as quickly as possible. Let me go back down here through the comments. Dog was asking about what picks the Steelers have in next year's draft. I think you can look that up online. I don't remember off the top of my head, so I don't want to tell you something incorrect. As it currently stands right now, and obviously comp picks can change, they'll have a very boring day 3 next season. I'll put it that way. Todd Williams, hi guys, hope all is well. Please give me your assessment of Terrell Edmonds. He's been fine. It's been okay. There's been nothing too high or too low. Tackled well, playing the run hard. Had 2 tackles for a loss against the Raiders, but that's kind of the extent of my assessment of Terrell Edmonds.
Yeah, I mean, I look. I mean, the thing is nothing just stuck out egregiously. I don't think overall. I thought he's done pretty good coming down low and helping out against the run on a few times. I don't think it's overly. I tell you what made me mad in that game. Justin Lane. How about bring your feet with you and tackle forward and not throw somebody over the first down mark?
Yeah, did he get benched in that game? Witherspoon replaced him
I don't
and
know.
died.
Did he?
Well, I mean, Witherspoon became the extra cornerback on after Flame was the guy in the first half.
All right, you charted it. So yeah, was it that play? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, they played on different sides. Lane was the right corner, Witherspoon was the left corner, and Pierre flipped over, but it kind of felt like he did. I mean, unless it was a plan the Steelers had, if they wanted to match up speed better. I don't know, but Lane was starting that game in the sense of being that time defender, and then he was not. So, you know, what else is there to interpret there?
Yeah, so far so good with Edmonds. Let's leave it at that.
Yeah, but it's been more of the same. I mean, it's not been anything different than kind of where he's been at. Let's see. MW, why couldn't we sell out to go after Carr or drop more in the secondary to cover? I could not even see our secondary in the TV screen so far back. I mean, the TV tape's a really bad way to evaluate secondary play overall, so I don't have a good answer. Why couldn't we sell out to go after Carr or drop more in the secondary to cover? I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought they, look, they, it got away from them in the second half, but overall, I mean, look, I thought Renfro made a fantastic catch on what was it, that third down that we talked about this morning. I mean,
Hmm.
sometimes the other teams paid to make plays as well too. But once again, if you would have told me they would have held Waller to the numbers that they held him to there, and it was a very winnable game up until the home run to Ruggs. And what they did is they got look, Minka likes to try to make plays and all, and he thought he saw something there, and Carr did a good job of pumping and kind of holding Minka flat, and you got a new guy over there on the other side trying to run cover one and stay on top shoulder of one of the fastest guys in the NFL in Ruggs. And here's the other thing too: the blitzer off that side. Who was it? Norwood,
Hmm.
I think. That tight end cut him off
Yep.
and almost really picked him off at the start of that too. So if that tight end doesn't kind of pick Norwood off, that's another step maybe that Norwood has in there. Maybe Norwood impacts that play if he gets there quicker too. So it's just
Hmm.
the little things like that on top of it. So yeah, the Steelers lost the game. The home run hurt, especially that drive after when they came down, and the defense just worn out at that point. But overall, I didn't. I mean, yeah, Schobert gave up some catches in the game and all like that, but up until that home run, the defense kind of was the reason they were still in that thing. I
Yeah,
think.
I totally agree. Sim Football Critic, knowing the first priority by the defense was to watch Waller, is it fair to say that's why Minka was late, just couldn't make it back in time to help Witherspoon? Yeah, I mean, they were trying to watch that crosser, and that's still Minka's responsibility, so it's on him, but that's the reason why. I think Card, as you said earlier, Dave, did a good job to hold Minka shallow and then throw over the top of him on that touchdown to Henry Ruggs.
Yeah, I mean, and that just it's a game of inches, right? I mean, if he doesn't get flat-footed or come forward, just that half second there, then Minka probably gets back there because that guy can turn and run,
Hmm.
and yeah, I thought Carr played a fantastic game once again.
Me too. Carly McAdams, which franchise has underachieved more over the last 2 years, Packers or Steelers? I'm probably a little biased because I follow the Steelers closer than I do the Packers. I mean, I'm inclined to say the Steelers, but I don't know the history of the last 10 years of the Packers as well as I do Green Bay. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously they haven't had a playoff win in for a while here. So and the Packers have, haven't they? So
right.
I think you just just off that alone, you probably have to say if you're given a choice between the two, it has to be the Steelers that have underperformed.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Ross Swisher, do you guys think Alex Highsmith has been disappointing? Still has more tackles for loss and pressures than Bud Dupree this year. No, I think it's been really good. I mean, the sacks haven't been there necessarily yet, but I think his play itself has been excellent. So I've been more than happy, especially against that Bills game. It probably wasn't quite as good against the Raiders, and he's got to stay on sides a little bit, but he's been really good.
Yeah, I thought so far. I mean, and you'll see in that all 22, he used that spin like 3 times, 4 times in that game, I think.
Yeah, they got to be
And
careful though because they're giving up uh, the edge there.
right.
Him and Watt have had that happen where you give up the contain and the quarterback breaks the pocket. So there's a downside there.
Right. Now, obviously, he wasn't as impactful in this game against the look, Ingram was the only one really getting any kind of pressure or hits there overall. And then Hayward was just being Cameron Hayward there. But even so, that they had a great answer for that offensively on getting that ball out a lot of times quick, when they needed to.
Yeah. Colin Finnegan, can you rank the O line individually on Sunday, even from a 100-foot perspective? I I can't. If you can, Dave, feel free. If not, that's okay as well. I probably couldn't at this point, or on Monday, the day after the game, couldn't really give you a great answer for that right now.
I can tell you it probably went a core four was your best offensive lineman all the way around. Uh it wasn't more. I'll tell you that. Uh Probably Trey Turner and then Dotson and then Green then Moore and Green right around in there possibly, but uh look, the bar between the top one with a core four too, it wasn't like he was head and shoulders, that head and shoulders. But I thought, especially in the run game, I thought a core four did the best from the blocking aspect there in that one game and one game only.
Yeah, my one thought on this O line is that they've been really poor, at least in this game. Maybe not as much against Buffalo, but in stunt pickup and staying on the same level and passing things off, that was really ugly. I thought against the Raiders, they did not do a good job.
Here's what I forgot to look at PFF. Here's what PFF says about yesterday's game from an overall grade perspective on offensive linemen. A core four, it says, was their top, then Kendrick Green, then Dotson, then Dan Moore, and then they have Trey Turner. I suppose. I see. We don't know how they factor the penalties in there
Hmm.
and things like that. I mean, are they hugely dinging Trey Turner because he got that penalty and thrown out of the game? I don't know. So that's how they have it rated.
Carly McAdams, Dave, and Alex, did you guys get a chance to see the passing chart for yesterday? Yeah, Dave has it up on his timeline, so you can check it out there. Right, it's posted on your Twitter
Yeah,
timeline, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, Colin asking about the offensive line. Let's just go through a couple more questions here. Appreciate you guys being here, and asking stuff and super chats and liking the stream. Appreciate it very, very much. Findle70 with Hayden out. Did you notice any change in coverages? I didn't. Did you, Dave?
On the Steelers side, no. I
Yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, you just saw the only thing that you saw, and it was the stuff that you probably expected, was Minka when he wasn't, kind of singled up, I guess, on Waller, was him helping bracket with him.
Right. Hidalgo says Green is a pulling guard. He's your future pulling guard, not your center. There's commentary there from Hidalgo. Couple more questions here. Looks like a lot of just conversation. Mike Odessa, I'm a big Deontay fan, but maybe just maybe him being out for a game or two could be a blessing in disguise and force the team into more 21 personnel. Is this as crazy as it sounds? Yeah, I don't think it's going to force the team to go into 21 just because Deontay's out. I mean, still have a lot of receivers and good depth there, so I don't think it's going to dramatically alter the team's game plan.
That guy can get separation, you know,
Yeah.
Deontay. So and good up underneath on coming across on some of those drag routes and all like that. So I mean, I hope he plays.
Yeah, me too. Just unfortunately, health has been an issue for him, and luckily, it seems that he's avoided any sort of serious injury from that last play of the game on Sunday. All right, any other questions? Feel free to ask them here in the chat. I think we don't have too many left here. I'll kind of scroll through one more time. And again, if you want to ask a question, feel free to do so in the next couple of minutes. Otherwise, Dave and I will wrap things up. Aussie Tank says, look, guys, until Big Ben has time to throw the ball, he had 1.8 seconds to get that ball off against the Raiders. That is nothing. Yeah, a lot of pressure for how quick some of those passes were. Although sometimes that number I think can be skewed a bit based on the real quick game, RPO game, and stuff like that, versus what the time is on 5-step drops and 7-step drops and things like that. So I think perspective there is important. Mark Tobin says Green needs to get over his small man syndrome and stop trying to fight everyone. He's going to cost us games. I don't know. That's the mentality this team wants. There's a line, obviously, Mark, but I'm not upset about Green finishing his blocks.
He's a scrappy dude, I'll tell you that. And look, once again, you'll find two or three pancakes in this game. Him just tossing people. One of them early in the game, first quarter, I think he tosses somebody aside. But those three games aren't enough. I mean, those three plays are not enough to offset some of the bad that's on that tape right now. And everybody will point to, well, look at this pancake, look at that. Well, yeah, that's all fine and good, but what about the 5 run blocks that he missed? That cost this team some big runs.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot of variance in this game, which is kind of what we talked
Yep.
about, before the season began. Two more questions, so we'll wrap things up. Mike Adesso, are you guys watching the Manning Bros tonight? I really enjoyed that last week. I liked it. It was a little distracting though, because I kind of had the game on in the background, and they didn't really talk about the game too much. So I'll have it on. I'll probably watch a little bit of it though. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, it's best to have it on a separate. I get distracted easily, man. I still like the full game on the TV too. They're gonna have to find a better way, I think, to do that on one screen there. So yeah, have it running on the computer and then have the other, have the game up on the TV.
Let's see. We have one here from Valley Ford. Has your prediction for the team record changed since before week one? Are we worse or better than you expected? Mine has not. I'm still at 9-8, and I believe Dave is in the same camp.
I'm still 9-8. Even people tried to twist our arms last week after that win and get us to change. I said, no, no, let's come talk to us about 4 or 5 games into the season,
Yeah.
and then let's take our temperature then.
Last one, your boy 52. Do you feel like the Steelers defense gave up too much underneath because Carr was checking it down and they were getting almost 5-10 a pop, maybe too much respect for the deep ball? Yeah, when you have that kind of speed on the outside, when Waller can big play you, they had 6 receptions of 20 plus yards in week one against the Ravens. They played more zone coverage as well. That can kind of lend itself to find the soft spots and check downs. And you got Kenyon Drake who can catch a little bit as well. So I get that. It's kind of, do you want to give up the big chunk play? You try not to. Obviously, they did in that Ruggs touchdown, but the philosophy was kind of keep things in front. And if you do that, then usually you're going to win those games.
Yeah, look, I mean, they did a lot of things right defensively in that game. They shut down the running game, and once again, you hate to just boil it down to one play because it obviously was a lot more than that. But if you get off the field on that third down instead of that home run to Ruggs, kind of interesting to see how that game might play out then. So, and then the defense was tired after that,
Yeah.
they brought out Barber and just kind of bludgeon and ate, the things that you wish the Steelers would be able to do
Hmm.
late in games. They had it done to them, and the defense already missing Alualu and just a Watt and all like that. They were just worn down at that point later in the game. But I thought up until the home run to Ruggs, I mean, it wasn't awful. but by any stretch.
Right. No, I'm with you as well. All right, guys, it's going to wrap things up. Appreciate you being here. Really thankful you guys could hang out with us. We'll be back in 2 weeks and hopefully talk about a Steelers team in a slightly better place than where they are today. If you want to see a replay of this, it'll be archived on my YouTube channel, also archived over on Steelers Depot in a little bit from now. So be sure to stick with Dave and myself on the podcast Wednesday and Friday on our YouTube channel. We'll have coverage of that throughout the week and, of course, on SteelersDepot.com. So, Dave, thanks for being with us tonight. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you everybody for showing up and listening to us tonight. And Alex, good job as usual. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. All right, guys, take care, and we will talk to you soon.